Hello everyone, Jose Joe Fish Keeping. The question is UV worth it? Is it or not? Well, I can wait until the end of the video and just tell you what I've summarized over the past year, or I can just tell you that right now, that for me, definitely it has made a big difference. I've seen a change, and over the year, again, you can watch till the end, learn something, maybe review, but I can tell you that in summary, I have noticed a change. I did 5 prior videos on UV covering different aspects of it, parasites, algae, and some other issues, and just more general information on it. But this particular one is meant to summarize and just tell you how I used that on the 120 discus tank. Ultraviolet sterilization, I just call it UV just for ease, what it does and what it does not. A certain someone out there in YouTube did this video on UV sterilization. It was specifically on the green killing machine. I believe it's a 9-watt unit, where he just said UV kills everything, he says, right? And then he says don't use it. Okay, now one of the things that really annoys me about people on YouTube is that they will say crap. Let me be honest and say call it crap. They say crap, they say information and misinformation out there without fact checking, without having the experience themselves with a product or something, and then they just put it out as gospel. And people who are strict followers of these people, they'll go out and believe. And this is, I just find that it is so harmful to new fish keepers. So UV does not kill everything. I'll go more into everything else, what it is and actually what it's supposed to do. As I stated previously in the previous video, I read, informed myself, and just got some information, and I learned more about UV as it's used in fish keeping. It has been used for a long time, more so with marine people and reefers. It does make a big difference for them. It's been documented. It has been used in the commercial industry, on food management, on the food industry. And if you can take a look at some of these large units that large fish keeping facilities and suppliers use for their system. So certainly there is a need for it, there is a use, and obviously it does not kill everything. Sterilization, as we use it in hospitals, we use a large autoclave under high steam and high pressure to kill everything. Actually, that is what it's meant to do. You don't want to take bacteria. If you use surgical instrument, you want to sterilize them, as in killing everything, so that you don't introduce infections to the people. Now, UV sterilization, as we use it now, is sterilization as when men have a vasectomy or women have tubal ligation to prevent them from having children in the future. So UV sterilization, in the sense of this topic, disrupt the DNA so that they cannot reproduce. Therefore, if you have a decreased number by attrition, that meaning that the less there are of them, the less they're going to reproduce. So eventually the number decreases until you have a very low bacterial load. And if there's less bacteria in the water, then less chances there are to find your fish. If a fish is healthy and its immune system is strong, a small bacterial load is not going to affect them as much, and they can fight off any potential pathogens or bacteria that they may come across them. As we know, beneficial bacteria live on surfaces, on your substrate, on your biological media, in your filters, but not necessarily in the water column. It does not mean that we do not have some bacteria floating around in the water column, but bacteria, free-floating bacteria such as pathogen or parasites or algae, they need to pass through the UV light in order to be affected. So your beneficial bacteria will not be affected because it is not, all of it is not in the water column. In a setting like my tanks, which I tend to like, I like to keep them overcrowded. In this particular discus tank, I have 30 discus plus many others in the community. In a place where you have overcrowding, there certainly is a larger chance for a bacterial explosion to occur. So the bacteria can definitely, and pathogen can definitely be controlled by use of UV light, and also in basic good fish keeping maintenance and care. That is not to say that fish will not get sick. In this tank, in the 120-gallon tank, I am going through a treatment right now. I had lost a few cardinals, a couple of plecos over time, And then I notice a pattern. I watch, I observe, and I say, well, maybe it's time to treat it because something is going on. I noticed that one of the discs was getting cloudy eyes. I treated it with my trio, which is kanamycin, metronidazole. I felt that at this time it was time to treat it, but this is again one time in 1 year since I started using this UV in this particular tank exactly 1 year ago. So I did treat it. Within a day, the cloudy eyes on the discs were doing fine. Before the UV, I was finding that I was getting occasional illness, and I can tell you that losing fish in great amount is never fun. Some years back, maybe 5-6 years ago, I lost a whole tank with 24 discs plus many other, and 50% of all my other tank. I rushed quarantine. I was not careful, did not use my common sense, and I wound up losing all the discs, 2 to 3 or 5 per day. That was painful. Is it worth using the UV? To me, it is certainly. The cost of this particular UV unit was probably about $500 plus other things that I needed going into it. So for me, I did think about it for a while, and it's certainly worth it for me because 2 discs covers the price of the unit. As human, we can also get sick. You could have the best diet, the best exercise, your best lifestyle, and potentially you can still get sick. That goes without saying. We can get cancer, we can still die. I mentioned in my previous video, this particular, when I was in high school, I was a long distance runner. And this guy, James Fix, he was the one who really established a road runners club in New York City in the early 70s when the marathon became really big. I don't know how many marathons a year he did. He ran every marathon around outside, and he died of a heart attack. This guy was a perfect picture of health. So genetics and some of the things, and when it's your time to go, you cannot control that. So certainly UV is not going to save every fish at every situation. Is UV right for you? You decide that. Maybe up to you. It's not. If you have a tank full of mud guppies, maybe not. If a tank like this one full of expensive fish, or depending what you keep, or you just want to keep that big tank of gut muppies healthy, maybe that's value for you. Is it worth the investment? There are smaller units. I chose this particular unit because it is up to 150 gallons. Mine is a 120 for the discus tank. So I chose for this one. There are more expensive units. There are bigger units depending on what your use is. But this one won't seem to have been the right for me after looking at all the possibilities. As I said, this unit I installed a year ago, to be exact, on 4/18/2025. A few months prior to that, I have been using some of the smaller units, green killing machine, which I have in three of the display tanks, and smaller units on my quarantine, breeding, and grow out tanks. I also use those there. Those I use intermittently. I show in front of the other videos on algae control. One time I really have never had a problem with green water. Some of you like green water. I prefer to have clear tanks that I can see my fish well. But I did have one. I had a pair of discus, breeding discus in there, and I put one of the smaller units, and within 2 to 3 days, the water was perfectly clear. The green was gone in a day, and then the cloudiness went away. Now, why did that happen in that tank was that since it was a breeding pair of discus, I keep one bristlenose in every tank. They do nice control of the algae, as you already all know. And since I couldn't keep one in that tank, the algae, nothing controlling it. The more algae there is, the more they're going to reproduce. Hence, as in UV, if you have nothing controlling the bacteria, they can just multiply exponentially, and then you can really you'll have a problem. So controlling it is an issue. So that particular unit, I have them out of the tank, on top of the tank. So if I need to use it periodically, I will use the UV units on the small tanks. And on the other display tanks, I have not really had them on at all. The discus tank, I keep them on. Of course, whenever you're using a UV, if you're doing treatment, you should turn off your UV because it will degrade medications. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you use an open UV light, don't look at the light directly because it can cause severe eye damage. When using UV, you have to decide what your goal for is. You can have either goal for algae, for parasite control, or you can have for bacteria. My choice was for bacteria. I find that parasites are easy to take care of. I generally quarantine everything that comes to my house, and I treat for parasites, I treat for bacteria. And some people, again, whether you choose to medicate during quarantine, that's up to you. And again, you keep your fish the way you want to keep it. You do it your way. That is the way it is in fish keeping. Whatever works for you. Whatever you hear out there, UV sterilization, everything has to do with flow. Bacteria multiply very rapidly, so your water has to turn around and go through the UV light at a faster rate, because contact time is everything. If you have parasite that can multiply a lot slower, then you need a slower rate through that. Each UV light, each unit would tell you what the recommended rate is. Some of the units, like the green killing machine, has its own pump. This particular unit, the larger unit, you need a pump to drive it. So I will go into that in a few more minutes. This particular unit, the cost was, I said, it was about $500, but I needed an outside pump. So I had this old Eheim filter that I first started using in 1987, and the damn thing still works well. So I decided to use, I said, you know what, since I need an outside pump, let me use the filter, run the water through the filter and then to the UV, so that I can run clean water, because the glass where the light is, it'll get coated with dirt and the light would not be as effective. However, you should change also the light once a year, which I'm due to change this particular one, because the light after a while will lose its intensity. So it should be, they recommend that you replace it once a year, and I'm going to be a good boy and replace it. Again, choose your goal and rate. I've heard some people say, oh, whatever they tell you, rate doesn't matter. It does. In healthcare, we learn how long and how we should wash our hands. Again, contact time with whatever you're washing with, it helps. These particular disinfectants that we use, one of them has a contact time of 2 minutes, another one 4 minutes. So once you wipe the surfaces, you have to wait 2 minutes. Drying time is what's going to affect and kill the bacteria. So flow rate, contact time does matter, and that is a key thing on it. So I was finding out that with this Eheim filter that I use, I tried it, the flow rate, because it's probably the tubing is a small, I don't know, 3/8 size. If any of you own Eheims, canister filters, you know that the tubing is probably about 3/8 inch more or less. So that really became a limiting factor of how flow, regardless of what the filter was putting out through the UV and out through the output, the flow was really small. It was a nice steady flow, but not as fast as I would have liked it to be. So then I bought this flue pump on it. The pump by itself, tremendous flow. I used a 5-gallon bucket and see how fast it was going to pass through. I also use a flow meter within the line to tell me how many gallons per minute, then multiply for 60 for an hour, and it wasn't giving me quite the rate that I wanted. So I took a Flubal 407, and boy, does that thing spit water. So I put that in the loop, as I'm showing you here in the picture. I put the 407 through the loop, through the UV. I put the UV after the filter so that it can get past clean water through there, and it does make a big difference. And I chose the 407 because it is a slightly larger unit, but also it has the capacity for a lot more biomedia. And why not? More mechanical, more biomedia, again, it's fine. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is that the UV, as far as clarity of my water, it has not really changed anything, because if you look up old videos on this channel, you can see that my tank, my clarity in my tank, they've always been the same. I use an FX6 on all of my 4 large display tanks. One is at 120, 90, 65, and 60, and I really don't have a problem with algae. Generally not, I'm saying a big problem with algae or clarity issues, just with the FX6 alone. Again, the goal was for bacteria, not for anything else with the UV. So my water quality, as far as was measurable, I cannot tell you that I saw a difference because of the UV. Again, the goal was bacteria. As hobbyists, there's a lot of things that we cannot test in the water. Water quality, as far as the physical appearance, you could have a perfectly clear water and have really a crazy amount of ammonia or other waste products, but you cannot see those, and some of them we cannot measure. So again, water quality was really not an issue. That's not what the goal for the UV unit was. As I said, controlling parasites, it's easy. I treat them in quarantine initially, but also every 2 to 3 months I would use a antiparasitic dewormer. I like to use flubendazole for a number of reasons. It dissolves easily, and I also use praziquantel, which is great for flatworm like tapeworm, and discus tend to be prone to it. Type of unit that you use depends on what you plan to use for it. Wattage makes a difference. This particular unit is 24 watts, and again, it's rated for 100 up to 150 gallons. It's the same type of unit that is rated for has 57 watts. So again, depends the size of your system and what your goals for it are. I will tell you a couple of things that UV does not do, okay? Before I go in further into telling you what I've noticed over the past year or so with this unit. It will not cure a sick fish for you. You can help it indirectly, meaning that if you already have a sick fish, if you have a heavy pathogen load in the tank, they will continue to multiply like crazy. And there's more of them, more that can affect already weak and sick fish. So it will indirectly help your fish, but you cannot say, I'm going to put UV because it's going to cure my fish that's already sick and dying. It's not going to save your fish that way. If you like, you can use UV along with the quarantine method if you choose to use quarantine that way. But just always, as I said before, just always remember that you have to turn off the UV if you're medicating. One of the things that it does not do is decrease your maintenance, as somebody said on a live stream I was on, and I said, well, listen, it's not going to decrease your maintenance. And somebody said, well, that's not the way you use it. And I said, okay, that's fine. But again, there's in YouTube, there's a lot of experts. And so let me tell you, let me qualify that statement a little bit. If you have a pond exposed to a large amount of sunlight, you cannot control the sunlight unless you have in a shaded area, perhaps, right? You cannot control the sunlight. A lot more sunlight, more algae. We know that, right? So a lot of pond people use UV to control the algae. So maybe maintenance in that sense, yes, will work, but it's not going to clean my water for me. It's not going to do water changes for me. It's not going to remove any crap that settles into the gravel if you use gravel or any whatever substrate you happen to use. So it will not decrease that. This is like saying get a pleco because the pleco is going to clean your tank. Spanish people, they call them tank cleaners. Well, they may control your algae, as I've already stated with the other thing. They will control that, but you do need a balance. If you have an algae problem, find out what the problem is. What's the cause of it? I had the other day a guy come in. A few days ago, I went to a Petco. I bought a few tanks on the 50% off sale. And one guy comes in. I'm talking to this new kid there. He doesn't really know much about fish, but he says, I'm trying to learn more about fish. And the guy says, do you have any scavenger fish? And I say, what? I know exactly what he was talking about, but I said, what do you mean by scavenger fish? You know, one that's going to clean up my tank, eat all the junk, and take care of all the algae. And I said, well, at Petco, and at least in my area, you're going to find some plecos that grow this big. Don't buy them here. Go to a local store, some other store. He mentioned one local in the name. I say, yeah, perhaps there you could find a Brisbane also, an ancestor. So you can find a small, they stay, yay big, and they will do a nice job on controlling your algae. But it looks like you have another problem. And I said, where's your tank place? He said, oh, it's by some large window, big windows all over the place. I said, well, it sounds like you may have too much sunlight. Your scavenger fish may not take care of all of them. You should probably fix your problem, your cause first, because don't leave it to the fish to take care of a problem that maybe it's your fault or maybe it's something that you're doing. Again, the UV is not going to change my water. It's not going to get rid of whatever builds up into your water. It's not going to clean waste product. It can't control the bacteria. And if you also have an environment that is prone or is going to be beneficial to bacterial growth, you probably increasing the chances for them to multiply easier. So it does not decrease maintenance. Again, that's my opinion. You can disagree. That's fine. That's okay. But if you use for algae on a pond, yeah, they will definitely decrease your maintenance there. But that's not the intended use for it. It is one intended use. But again, as I say, your goal is the goal is what you have to keep in mind in what unit you buy and and how you use it. This is a unit that I chose, the 120 gallon, this Aqua unit. It is a 24 watt. It is, as I found that so far, it has been good for me. I've used it. I only keep it. Initially, I was using it for 24 hours a day. I have it set on a timer. I use those smart plugs to run 12 hours a day. You run it during the night. Will the UV change the health of your fish? Will the fish not die? They're going to die because their time is going to come, as it does for us also, unfortunately. But one of the things that I have learned over the last year is that it definitely has decreased the sick periods on my tank. As much as overstock as I like to keep my tanks, as much fish as I have here, that I think I violated every stocking rule that is out there as far as gallons per inch of fish you should have. Listen, I'm way beyond that, and I can be, as I said, I can tell you stories. I can tell you a bullshit story. I'm not going to go there. No need to do that at all. One of the things that I have found out is that the sick periods have definitely decreased in my tank. Is that all related to the UV? I haven't changed anything else on there. I still do my 80% once a week. As much as I overfeed and overstock, maybe I should do more often, but I always think, why fix something that is not broken? It's been fine for me like that for years. I don't intend to do much changes as how I keep the fish. I am happy the way they're doing. For the discus, it maybe mentally make me feel better that I should change it 2-3 times a week. Some people say, oh, I'll do water changes daily on my disc. I think it's excessive. I have no ammonia, I have no nitrites. I do fertilize the water column. If I have a little nitrate, it can be related to fertilization. I use CO2 once in a while. I can tell you that some of the plants, even when they don't require CO2, those that do not require, they do a lot better when the CO2 is on. I think I have a tank sitting unplugged for about 2 months on my tank. I just have not gotten around to it. And I can tell you something, I see a change in the plants already. When the CO2 is running, they do so much better. This is not a topic about CO2, but the point is, are the fish doing better because of the UV? Perhaps. I have no way of measuring that, but again, the only thing that have changed is the UV, and their color, their health, their reproductive activity, it has, I think, changed tremendously. You know, look at the fish as I generally are. If you look at all the videos, generally my discus tank, I do my best to keep them healthy and to give them the best life that I can. I cannot blame it all on the UV, but the UV is a tool. You choose to use it if it works for you. For me, I think it does, and I'll continue using it. So it's something that is very individual. It's up to you to use it. One of the things that I can tell you in fish keeping, whether it's for UV or anything else, do your homework. Don't believe only one source. Fact check your information before you take somebody's word for it, before you follow blindly somebody else that has a reputation. Some people just say crap to gain clout, and they have no effing idea of what they're talking about. My humble opinion. And you decide whether it's the right tool for you, or whether the cost is worth it relative to the kind of fish that you have in this particular tank. I think it's a great tool. Explore it, learn more about it, not what I'm telling, because these are my opinion and my experiences, but you should find out for yourself and find out whether this is something that you may want to incorporate into your fish care. Thank you so much for listening, and I really appreciate your support.